Today, for the founder spotlight, I have Kim Gamez, who is the founder and CEO of Soberish. Kim, if you could give us a brief highlight of your drops.
Awesome. Hi, thanks for having me. So, yes, I'm the founder of Soberish. Soberish.com is actually a marketplace for all things soberish. We have, non-alcoholic wines and spirits through hemp-infused products. I also am the creator of the Soberish Drops, which are a flavorless, water-soluble drop. There's like 30 servings per container that you can add to any drink to give your mocktail or whatever you're drinking. You can get that buzz, but without the booze.
So, throughout your career, you've been in the tech sector for a while now. You even earned the title Tech Startup Darling. So what motivated the transition from tech into the soberish world?
Yeah, so I actually had bars and restaurants for over 15 years. From there, I had an idea for an app that we launched. It grew from an idea to a couple million users in like less than 5 years. That was acquired back in 2022. And at the time, I was like, okay, I'm not going to do anything like this again. Like I raised money, I did the whole, you know, grind of like pitching to investors and raising funds and doing the thing. And I was like, okay, I've got that feather in my hat. And so I took this amazing opportunity at Michigan State University where I help lead entrepreneurship and innovation. And although I love it, I love working with the different teams and the startups, I was used to the grind of being an entrepreneur. And so I got bored. And with that, my mom actually, who struggles with alcoholism, moved in with us last summer, and we were just exploring non-alcoholic alternatives. And we were posting our reviews on social media, I think because we secretly are still teenage girls. And we love the response from the community. Not only did a couple of our videos go viral because just the followers and the people that were watching wanted to learn more, but also brands were reaching out for us to try their product. So it was really fun. I thought it was just going to be this fun little hobby with my mom. But in August of last year, I was like, I think there's something here. Like, I know we're creating value for these brands. So I threw together just with, again, with like the tech background, I threw together a landing page to help track conversions. And I thought maybe we were generating like a couple $1,000s worth of sales for these brands. In
Mhm.
August, we generated over $60,000 in sales for the brands.
Um,
And I was like, holy crap, mom. This is like could be a real business. Like why? And then I was like, why is this working? What are we doing? And I realized like we were just speaking kind of like everyday lingo. We weren't really talking about THC and CBD and milligrams of this. We were just saying like we want this is the way you feel. This is the kind of effects it's giving someone who is kind of outside of the cannabis space, or these non-alcoholic whiskeys or rums taste like this. And so we were just speaking in like really simple language using humor and just trying to be real with the audience. And so that's kind of where it all started.
yeah, the effects based marketing, so to speak, is definitely where it's at. I think people get very confused between all the different uh, adaptogens, nootropics, and obviously the THC and other cannabinoids as well. Sometimes it feels like you need a PhD to shop for these drinks, but if you can tell someone how it feels, that's very powerful in my opinion.
I know the first time we were trying mushroom elixirs, I mean, I went to our local grocery store and got these Odyssey mushroom elixirs. And I was like, who the heck came up with this branding? Like, who wants like a million milligram or whatever of mushrooms? I'm like, how does that sound like it tastes good? Like, I don't know, but mom, if it tastes bad, we're going to totally get this reaction on like a video. I'm like, well,
Right.
wow, these taste really good. And like, I actually feel like something. I don't know what it is. And so that's kind of how it all started. And it's been crazy. Yes, I definitely feel like I need a PhD in this new market of non-alcoholic beverages.
So your experience, you mentioned it briefly, starting the app that grew and then it eventually got acquired. And how has that experience, impacted your role as an entrepreneur in residence at MSU? You kind of touched on it briefly, but how's that influenced your approach?
So initially, when I was thinking about, that initial landing page in August, I'm like, this is just a marketplace. This is like bringing together great products and brands and then bringing a customer in to then shop the marketplace. I'm like, I did that before. That was like our previous company had a marketplace component. I also knew a lot about SEO, growing organically, social media. because we were a scrappy startup with that last company. And so I kind of learned those tips and tricks. And so I brought those along. And then with my role as an entrepreneur with Michigan State University, I'm constantly telling teams to not boil the ocean. And what I mean is like founders are like, oh, we could do this, and this could be our customer, and this could be our customer, and all these different things. And it's like, hey girl, stay laser focused. Let's who is like your most important customer? Like who will love your product? Okay, her name's Betty. Okay, we're gonna call all those customers Betty. How can you get 10 Bettys? How can you boil that cup? How can you just boil that cup of water? How can you do that one thing really, really, really well? And then let's try to boil the bowl of water. Then let's try to boil the bathtub, then the pool. Then maybe you might get to a lake or the ocean, but don't start by trying to boil the ocean and reach everyone. Let's just talk to Betty until Betty's really happy and you get lots of little Bettys and then grow from there. And so I've been using all of that. I have to remind myself almost daily with Soberish, Kim, boil your cup of water. What are you doing? Boil the cup of water. So I definitely use that all in my day job too.
Gotcha. Very cool. So just kind of sticking in line with that, who is Soberish's Betty?
She's our 40-year-old soccer mom who is a non-cannabis user who doesn't necessarily have a bad relationship with alcohol, but she just hates her relationship with alcohol. She can't hang with the hangovers anymore, hates the weight gain associated with alcohol, and is just looking for a more sober-ish lifestyle. So she still might have a cocktail every now and again, but wants to kind of experience some of these other products that are out there.
Other than being the 40-year-old soccer mom, you just described me to a T.
I know. I'm like, I'm not a soccer mom, but like I am my customer. That's why I think it works so well, because I was like, our customers, I don't want to say they look like me, but they have kids. They're a professional. They hate this stigma. Like they were raised in the DARE era where it was like drugs are bad, cannabis is bad. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to talk about cannabis. I'm going to be the complete opposite of the neon pot leaf, and maybe that will work. And so my mom and I laughing, and we call it the giggle grass. We don't even call it, hemp or THC, mainly because social media won't let us. But we really lean into that, and that really resonates with our customer.
I love that. So you mentioned that you're this overall marketplace, not just for THC or hemp derived. So how do you envision or see the market evolving for consumer needs to meet consumer needs in the future?
Well, there's new brands popping up. You know that.
Yes.
You see not only in the hemp space, but in the sober curious space, there are just so many brands. And so it's interesting because you look at like beer and wine, and there are like legacy Jack Daniels that have been here for 100 years. There's no one in our category, not in the non-alcoholic wines or in the spirits or in the hemp-infused products, that has been doing this for years, maybe 5 years, but that is still considered a startup. And so it's just really interesting to see the new where products are going. Every time I swear I taste like a new non-alcoholic gin or tequila, it's like they're getting better.
Mm-hmm.
The hemp infused products, some of them still taste like, excuse me, a skunk's ass, but then there are some that I'm like, how does this not, I mean, what? How did they make this taste like this? This is absolutely delicious. And so I think the industry has a long way to go. And so I'm just really excited about all the new things that are going to happen.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that there are none of those legacy brands, and this is very much a new market, and pretty much every company in it is a startup in some capacity, yourself included in that. So what have been your biggest hurdles, and how have you overcome those, and then contrasting that with your experience as you launched your own tech company as well, and how did those mirror each other, or how do they completely differ?
Well, in the hemp space, it's been really hard. I mean, whether it's, credit card processing and, different things that you can say and not say on social media, it's actually great working with other startups because we're all very nimble. Like we all can move quickly if need be.
And
Now, working with a big corporation, you have to talk to so-and-so who has to talk to so-and-so, and then there's an approval process, and then maybe we can get you in the next quarter or maybe by the end of the year. And so it's great that everybody's really young, like not age wise, but the companies are young. And that if we want to test something and fail quickly, that's another thing in startups. Like you want to test things and either they're going to be successful or there's going to be a failure, but you want to learn quickly. We just recently launched these like adulting gummies, and it's a lion's mane, B12 and biotin kind of concoction. And I'm like, let's just start with, 500 jars, like nothing crazy. Let's start it, test it, see if people like it. And if it fails, it fails. We won't do it again. And because we're so young of a company that we are able to do that. And the companies that we're working with. So if they want to test something, they can be like, hey, Kim, do you want to like review this for us? Maybe throw it on your website, maybe throw it in your next like sampler box. And so that's really great within the industry that we can all kind of figure these things out together. And it's such, and it's such a supportive, like the community is so great. Like everyone wants to help everyone out. Like if they find a new trick or a new tool, like everybody's just so supportive.
I agree with that completely. The term rising tides lift all boats. I feel like it definitely applies, especially in the broader CPG community. I would say also falls in that category, but even more so in the hemp and THC spaces. I think that really resonates. So, you're part of obviously those groups. I've seen you inside of startup CPG in the Slack channel. So obviously you run in a lot of different entrepreneurial circles and communities. And you touched on this a little bit in your last answer, but what are some insights and lessons you've gained and what has been particularly valuable for you at Soberish?
Just really leaning into our customer.
Yeah.
Like really understanding. So we always say, like, what does she want? Like we talk about we don't talk about our customer as this like object or this number. One, she has a sex. Granted, we have men, you're a customer. Like we have men, but for the most part, like we cater to women. And so we're like, what does she want? Like, what is she into? Like what is trending in her world right now? Just like really understanding her. And for me, it's easy because I feel like I am her. And so, like, what am I doing in my own day to day with my kids in my business? Like, what, like, things am I listening to? Like, what am I watching on TV? Like, really understanding her and catering to her. It's like, even in my videos, I feel like I'm talking to her on the other side of the camera. It's not just to this vague audience. I'm like telling jokes to her, and I'm hoping she's laughing with me on the other end. That's been really, really powerful. And it really keeps it real, and it doesn't make it feel so fake. Like I just feel like I'm just really talking to someone that's right there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, you've offered several, tips of advice for other entrepreneurs, and obviously you're helping entrepreneurs at MSU. So between testing, buyer personas, building that community, is there any other, piece of advice that you would give to aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly in the beverage space?
Test, test your product, whether it's, I hate to say just like getting out into like a farmer's market, getting somewhere where you're not testing on your friends and family, because mostly your friends and family are always going to tell you you have a cute baby. They're never going to tell you your baby's ugly. But if you go to like a farmer's market or somewhere where you can, or if it's you ask your friends to bring friends, like, and so like you don't necessarily will know everybody in the room, but just testing your product, one, getting it to like, not that it's like packaged a certain way, not that it's whatever, like testing, like whether it's like a home recipe, I don't know, like testing that first. And then from there, um, really doing your research on who can really help you grow the company, but who's comfortable working with startups, with a small company, who can work with you at like a testing, like a minimum, MOQ, your first order. And then again, testing that with your customers. Like don't try to like if you're trying to do a beverage, don't go out and try to create like 4 flavors. Just do one. And you'll know if you can sell the one, it's easy to slot in that like second flavor. Like
Yep.
maybe somebody else who's into beverages, which I'm not. Beverage is not my background, but just from looking at all the different companies that I start with, it's like you don't have to go out with a crazy amount of SKUs. Like to prove validation is starting with one. Like,
Yep.
and then if the customer comes back and wants more, holy crap, there you have like actual validation. And then hopefully that customer comes back and is like, I love the strawberry, but man, if you could do a lime, something citrus, and then it's like ears and eyes wide open, take that, see if the other Bettys in the world like citrus, and then go and create other, or maybe they're like, I don't like this size. Maybe it's a bigger can. Maybe it's like a liter, whatever, like a liquor size bottle. Maybe it's a gummy that they love it, but they're like, gosh, I wish I could like mix it on my own. I don't know. Just like you have to start testing with your customers and then really listening, keeping your eyes open and your ears open to all the different ways you could grow. Sorry, I just totally rambled on, but there's
You're
lots of
totally
things to
fine.
do.
That actually leads me directly into my next question, which is, getting that customer feedback. How are you at Soberish gathering and then incorporating that feedback into your, product development or even just your overall business strategies at Soberish?
So customer discovery is so different from actual customer feedback. So if I were to do, let's say with you right now, like an actual customer discovery, I would ask you, how often do you drink? Maybe. And then what kind of beverages do you drink and why? And then maybe lean into how did you learn about that beverage? Oh, that's interesting. How did you find that? That's new. And then because then I'm learning like, oh, he found it on social media. Oh, his friend introduced him to it. Oh, on social media, like was it an ad? Did you buy on their website? Oh, did you buy it in the store because you like the packaging? Oh, interesting. Oh, you like citrus. Let's talk more about that. Like, do you typically drink citrus drinks? So you're not saying, hey, Lars, I'm creating this new Soberish lemonade. Would you like it? You'll probably be like, yeah, that sounds delicious. Yeah, if I listened to you, you were telling me you liked coffee and espresso martinis and everything but lemonade. And so you learn so much more about your customer when you let them talk and you're not telling them about your product.
I love that. That goes so much deeper than just, obviously the term in beverages, lips to beverage or whatever the saying goes, but which is important, obviously, but going that extra step to really understand how they got there and understanding them completely as a customer is really valuable. So I love that. Before I get
That
to the,
even goes into like price too, like how much did
yep,
you pay for that? And then you can just learn so much about like your whole business. Like how much are you going to charge? How are you going to actually acquire the customer? Like design and packaging. Like did they buy a 4-pack? Was it a 6-pack? Was it online? Was it in retail? Like there's just so much you can learn from customers if you just let them talk and just dig a little deeper. Like just
absolutely.
yeah.
So I do want to throw in an extra question that I did not prepare you for, but you had a video go pretty viral recently. I'm not sure where it's at. I think the last time I saw it was a little over 3 million, I believe. But what's even cooler about that is I believe the CEO or the editor of Entrepreneur Magazine also shared that. Walk me through that. One from the concept of the video and it going viral and all the attention that came from that, and then ultimately the post by Entrepreneur Magazine.
Yeah, it was crazy. So at Soberish, and this was even back to when my mom and I were just sampling or reviewing non-alcoholic beverages. I was like, I wonder if sobriety could actually be fun. And so we always say at Soberish, like, who said, being responsible can't be fun? And
Right.
so in what I'm posting on social media, it's not always doing drink reviews. It's not always showing recipes. Sometimes it's just being fun. And so again, my background, I had bars. We had a restaurant and bar for 17 years. And so I learned all kinds of bar tricks and whatever. And so the video that went viral is I was actually selling a car and I pulled out a title and I was looking for a title in the filing cabinet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this newspaper article of me doing this trick. And I was like, I don't know the last time my kids or if they've ever seen a newspaper article and they might think it's cool that I'm like on the front page. And so I pulled it out and I was like, and my kids goes, there's no way you can do that. I'm like, oh yes, I can. I can still do that. And so I'm like, I don't have shakers. I don't have whatever, but let's throw up the camera and let's see if I can still do this trick. And it was like a 5-drink like pyramid trick. You see them a lot like in cruise ships and things now, but yeah, I used to do it with like tons of shakers. Like somebody actually have to like hold the other end and we like made a big show. And so I thought, even if I can't do this, if it's a fail, it'll still make a great video. So
Right.
either way, I'm going to record myself making a fool of myself. So um, with that though, yes, I posted it. It was like 2 weeks ago. I posted it and we had like over 5 million views within the first like 5, and that was on Instagram. 5 million views in like, I don't know, 24 hours. It was absolutely bonkers. And then, but now it's been 2 weeks. We have over 30 million views on Instagram, over, I think it's 12 million views on TikTok, and I think it's over 5 million views on Facebook. And so that was just crazy because I'm like, I'm not selling anything. I didn't want to even talk about Soberish. But it was crazy when, yeah, the chief, the
Editor
what
chief.
yeah, editor in chief. Sorry, I'm like chief executive, nothing. Okay, at Entrepreneur Magazine, yeah, he wrote a post, and so I got this notification. Somebody tagged you in a post, and I was like, oh, what's this? And I'm like, OMG, how amazing. He was like, this is a genius marketing hack. And I'm like, I don't know if I really thought about it. It's more so than just like, this is fun. And this kind of still fits my brand. And so in the brand, like not only like my personal brand, but the, Soberish brand. And yeah, it was just crazy for him to share that. And then actually M Live, the newspaper, so it's the big Michigan newspaper, they reached out and actually wrote a whole article about it a couple days ago. So yeah, it was really fun. So I don't know if there was a recipe. There was a lot of things. I sang an old song. I sang the rainbow song that I learned in Sunday school, which is funny. I learned a Sunday school song and I used to sing it at the bar. And I guess I sang it wrong. So there was a lot of comments. They were saying like I butchered the song. A lot of people commented that my girls' expressions were just so cute. Thank you as a mom. There was comments about, I don't know, all kinds of things. But I think the reason why the video went viral is that obviously there was things throughout the video, like the singing, the newspaper, the different things to like keep you engaged. But you had to watch the whole video until the end to actually see if I was successful in my trick. And so like right after it was done, boop, cut. And so people watched the whole video, which then boosts it in the algorithm.
Right.
So if I can take any tips away from that, sing, post a newspaper, have some cute kids.
Well, I think it leans into people crave authenticity. So like you said, it was on brand for yourself as well as Soberish, but very authentic. And then obviously, doesn't sound like you did it intentionally, but butchering the song, giving very easy mistakes for the haters and the trolls to comment can be a tactic in and of itself. So the last question here, I like to ask, all of my founders, what product besides your own do you like the most? Whether it be one brand, multiple brands, what else are you drinking besides your own products?
So I'm going to talk about the hemp infused products just because I know that's what you're into as well. I have a couple, and I'm not going to say one brand specifically, but the cans, because they're all different. Some brands
Yes.
I really like some flavors, and others are like a complete mess. So, floral beverages, they were one of my very first products that I reviewed. They're actually how I came up with the term giggle grass, because I had so much one night that like my face hurt the next day because I laughed like a raging hyena after partaking. They have a really amazing mojito, and so they like have like this like bite at the back. I don't know, that's from their emulsion, but it actually like reminds you of alcohol. Anyway, that the Sweet Justice brand, obviously you can tell their background is in beverage because their flavors are like spot on. Who else do I really like? Oh, I was prepared and then I wasn't. Oh goodness, the Calexo, the cucumber mint. I don't think it's for everyone, but I really do like their cucumber citron. Cucumber citron is really refreshing, especially right now with the summer.
So several of those I've not had. Floral and Sweet Justice I have not had before, so I can't add any additional thoughts. But Calexo, I definitely agree. It's very refreshing and quite delicious. Whether it's the infused or the non-infused version, I like both of them.
Have you had the squared products yet?
I have. I've had. I think it was just the orange soda, orange or grape soda, one of the two.
They have an energy line. It's like 1 milligram. It's like ultra microdosed, but it's delicious. Like really delicious. Their energy.
I'll have to check that out.
I hate to name just a couple because I feel like that's the thing about Soberish is that all the products that we carry are products that I've tried,
Yep.
I like, and I've like personally endorsed. And so everything you find at Soberish, I like. And then I have like our favorites and such, but those are just the couple that come to mind that I've been drinking lately.
If my readers wanted to support you, how best can they do that?
So I'm on all of the platforms. So whether it's Instagram, Kimmy Gamez, Kimmie Gamez, Soberish Kim on TikTok. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. If you just go to kimgamez.com, all of those links are there. Reach out. And if you have a product that you want us to, try and potentially get on Soberish, feel free to reach out at kim@soberish.com.